Today on Classroom Dynamics.
I taught myself JavaScript, web development, and really just have been doing it my entire life. And so I almost thought that I was going to go to college and become like a computer science major and go do programming full time. But I knew I wanted to create things for teachers and for classrooms. Like I've always enjoyed school. My dad was a teacher. I knew I wanted to make edtech. And I sort of looked around like Silicon Valley, right? And it just has this sense of there are lots of people there who are great at building technology. There are not a lot of people who understand education.
Welcome to the place where ideas collide. Adam Todd's here to be your guide. For teachers and techies, chasing the spark. Classroom dynamics, where we leave our mark. Let's dive in deep, the future's bright. Innovation shines like morning light. Teachers and tech, hand in hand we go. Welcome to the Classroom Dynamics Show.
Classroom Dynamics is sponsored in part by Logitech Education, empowering student voice and creativity with innovative tools like the Logitech Reach Adjustable Content Camera and the Zone Learn headset designed specifically for student comfort and focus. Discover how Logitech is transforming classrooms at logitech.com/education. Welcome to Classroom Dynamics, the podcast where we unlock the future of education. Hi everybody, I'm your host Adam Todd, and today's show is all about edtech tools that can help support your back-to-school classroom management procedures. First, we'll meet Josh Pullen, a high school math teacher in Michigan. Last year was his very first year teaching, and after just 2 weeks of making seating charts by hand, he knew that there had to be a better way. Luckily, Josh has been coding since he was 8 and built an app called Shuffle Buddy to automate classroom seating charts. And when a TikTok post went viral, tens of thousands of teachers jumped on board. Now Josh is working non-stop to add features based on teacher feedback, turning Shuffle Buddy into a must-have classroom tool. It's proof that when teachers solve their own problems, they often end up solving them for all of us. Then we'll turn it over to our Google Notebook language model host Bits and Bytes to explore ClassDojo and why this classroom management app is not only the key to a smooth start to the year, but a smooth year right to the end. And it's all coming up next on this bonus back-to-school classroom management episode of Classroom Dynamics. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Every student deserves a chance to succeed. At Catapult Learning, we close learning gaps through targeted tutoring, direct student support, and proven intervention programs. Our proprietary curriculum and our ability to customize with your district's materials ensure every child gets the instruction they need when they need it. For 45 years, Catapult's evidence-based model has transformed schools in New York City and across the nation. Catapult Learning, inspiring students, unlocking potential. For more information, visit us at catapultlearning.com.
Tired of drowning in paperwork? With Your Way Learning's AI-powered platform, you can automate lesson planning, grading, and parent communications while keeping you at the center. Our built-in chat assistant Beans helps craft differentiated, standards-aligned material in seconds. Fully customizable and grounded in learning science, Your Way saves time and deepens student engagement. Teach your way. For more, visit yourwaylearning.com. Today is all about using technology to help with one of the most important aspects of teaching, classroom management, especially at the beginning of the school year, where it can mean creating a well-oiled machine or it can mean facing an uphill battle. Joining me today is Josh Pullen, the creator of Shuffle Buddy, a classroom management seating chart app that automates who sits where in your classroom. Josh, welcome to the show. So glad to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
This is going to be a great conversation and something I think a lot of teachers not only can use, but I think they're going to want to use, which is great. And let's start with that, right? Teachers always need something in their class to help them with all of the things that they have to do on a daily basis. But sometimes they don't realize they need something until it basically hits them square in the face, kind of like figuring out who sits where in the classroom. Teaching is relatively new to you. You have just started, I think, your second year, correct?
Correct.
And
Yep.
so let's go back to those first few weeks of last year of teaching for you. What was the breaking point that made you say classroom seating is annoying, it's a pain, and time consuming, and I need to automate this?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. I was starting my first year of teaching, doing high school math. I was teaching two different preps, and for one of the preps, I had a co-teacher. And he's fantastic. I was totally new. I didn't know what to do. And so I asked him, like, listen, man, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to like make a syllabus right now as if I know what's happening. And I don't. I have no idea what we're going to do this year. And so I asked him, like, hey, for seating, like, what do you do? And he said, well, typically I will let kids choose their own seats. And then if it becomes a problem, I'll create a seating chart. And so I was like, all right, great, let's do that. So we go through the whole first semester, letting kids choose their seats. This is a great way to make a positive first impression on these kids, right? They're happy. They get to choose where they want to sit. They probably sit near their friends. It was also good. I had a lot of students with IEPs and 504 plans and stuff, and it makes it nice and easy if they have seating accommodations. They just pick a seat that's going to work for them. And so it was an easy way to start, but
there's
starts
the but.
to cause problems, right?
Yeah, there it is.
Kids sit next to their friends. Obviously, I would too if I was a student. And so they're distracted, right? They're going to be off task. They're not paying attention to the math as much as I wish they were. And then I also had some students, and this I think is a pretty common thing, who maybe felt some social anxiety about choosing, where it's like, I now need to sort of, maybe I don't feel like I have a lot of friends in this class or something, and I need to navigate picking a spot. And that can be a downside as well. So at the semester mark, halfway through my first year, I decided, you know what, we got to do some assigned seating charts. And being a high school math teacher, you know, there's always a new trend or a new thing in education. And right now, building thinking classrooms is a big one. And one of the things that book recommends, and it's really popular right now, is frequently randomizing your groups and doing visibly random groups. And the idea there is you sort of get to know everybody, right? You sort of shuffle your groups around. And the benefit of that is kids aren't stuck in certain roles, right? Like if I sit at the same desk with the same people for 5 weeks in a row, I start to know, oh, that's the person in my group who does the work. And I'm going to kind of listen to them. And so, you know, there was this idea of it's good to frequently randomize. Well, I didn't like randomizing because that had some downsides too. If you just actually do like a random number generator or something, it's difficult to accommodate those 504s, IEPs, if students have seating needs and I just hit random, like it's not going to work. I also couldn't prevent problems. I try not to interfere too much. I like to do mostly random, but sometimes you have certain students who just aren't going to work together. It's like, hey, we just broke up. We really don't want to be in a group together. Like, can we just avoid that whole situation or whatever? And so random also wouldn't quite work. And so my co-teacher and I ended up going into Google Slides and like hand designing seating charts, just dragging names around. And I lasted like 2 weeks on that. I was like, I hate this. This is way harder than it seems like it would be. It's way too much work. There's got to be some better way. So right at that
you had good
semester
intentions, right? Good intentions, but not really feasible to the time that you have to do it.
Right. So it was just too much time, too much effort. And I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. And so I built I think it took me like 2 weekends to build a prototype of a solution that would do randomized seating charts for my classroom, but let me put some rules in. So if I needed to keep certain students apart from each other or keep them together, I could do that. If I needed to keep a certain student in the front of the room, whether it was like for vision reasons or near the teacher, all those things, I could sort of do all that and just create these rules, but then randomize my seating charts within those rules. And the initial prototype was not good. Like the algorithm at first was literally generate a random seating chart, check if it meets the rules, and if it doesn't, generate a new one. And in some of my hours, I would have like 1 or 2 rules, and so it was nice and easy. I'd do it and it worked. I had 1 hour that had more students and more rules, and every time I hit generate, my entire computer would freeze. I could not move my mouse for like an entire minute, and I just had to like wait for the computer to catch its breath. And even though the prototype was that bad, it was still dramatically better than doing it by hand. And that was when I knew this is like a worthwhile product that I need to spend some more time sort of perfecting.
You know, it's true. Like teachers do have these issues. You know, these things do come up and they come up all year long. And yes, randomizing sometimes could be a quick one if you just needed something really fast, but it's not long term. It doesn't have staying power. And, you know, you're doing this. Now, you're also, personally to me, one of the very first teachers that I've come across and learned about who's been programming since you were in elementary school. Now, that experience as a kid obviously helped you here, right? It helped you create something for your teaching career. And that's a cool thing for me to hear, to see that kids who started to code and be on computers at an early age are now actually influencing what's happening in the teaching and education industry. So how did that early tech background influenced the way you approach building Shuffle Buddy, especially for teachers now that you are on the side of education and not the side on as a student?
Yeah, so I know you're teaching elementary. A lot of elementary teachers who want to introduce their kids to programming use some kind of block-based programming. I know
Correct.
like code.org has a bunch of stuff. I got started on Scratch. So
Right.
I was 8 years old. I think my dad had downloaded Scratch back in the day when it was like an actual program on your desktop. And I opened it up and was like immediately fascinated with this. And so my entire childhood was just on Scratch, like making games, making like math art where I taught myself trigonometry because I wanted to calculate, like I'm trying to do this art and I want to know if I'm moving a certain distance in a certain direction, what coordinates do I end at? And so I just did a whole bunch of that growing up. I think my Scratch account has like over 500 projects. It was everything growing up. So I basically was able to just teach myself online, and eventually sort of switched over from Scratch to real programming. I taught myself JavaScript, web development, and really just have been doing it my entire life. And so I almost thought that I was going to go to college and become like a computer science major and go do programming full time. But I knew I wanted to create things for teachers and for classrooms. Like I've always enjoyed school. My dad was a teacher. I knew I wanted to make edtech. And I sort of looked around like Silicon Valley, right? And it just has this sense of there are lots of people there who are great at building technology. There are not a lot of people who understand education and understand what teachers need. And so I thought, if I'm going to build edtech, I already know how to program. I don't need to go to college and learn how to write code. I need to go learn how to teach. And once I know how to teach, my prediction was correct. There's no shortage of problems and difficulties that teachers face. And so I think there's lots of opportunities here to fix those.
It is so cool that, again, and I'm talking, this is what I'm about to say is this is for you teachers out there who, sometimes you're like, oh, coding, computer science, I don't know. You're a perfect example of being introduced to it, trying it, liking it, and look where it has now landed you and full circle back into education. It is a pretty cool thing when you really think about it.
Yeah. And I think it's nice too for those, if you're doing like a code.org block-based programming and you look at it and you go like, okay, this is fun. This is a fun day, but like, is this really gonna lead someone to do computer science? And for me, the answer was absolutely yes.
Right. It does. That spark is all you need sometimes. And then your interest becomes, this is what I like to do. So even, work, it's not work, it's fun. It's interesting. You're engaged in it. And now you're starting to think a little bit differently. And look what happened. Here you are several years later as an adult teaching high school math, saying to yourself, wait a minute, I can go back to that to create something to help me now. And that's the bottom line best part about it. So let's talk about your TikTok videos. One of your TikTok videos about Shuffle Buddy, and you don't have a lot out there yet. You're still relatively new, but one of those videos went viral. What was it like to watch an idea that you built for yourself suddenly resonate and take off with tens of thousands of teachers who are saying, ooh, there we go, I could use that?
I'm still internalizing it. It feels like my 15 minutes of fame or something. It's been totally ridiculous. I had never used TikTok before. One of my things, I just don't like to do things that I'm going to get addicted to. So like in my first year of teaching, I was like, I'm not eating candy. I'm not relying on pop or coffee or anything to get through the day. Like I'm staying away from all of it, including for me, a lot of social media I try to stay away from. So I had never created a TikTok account. Still to this day, I have never scrolled the TikTok For You page, but I made a brand new account, like literally just signed up with my email and posted this video 5 minutes later that was essentially me just doing a product demo, like just being like, hey, I made a thing that you can add rules and hit random and it shuffles the seating chart. And my hope was, I was like, it would be great if I could get like 3,000 to 5,000 views. How cool would that be?
And I would think even 300 views would be pretty cool to start off, right?
Especially when
you've never
I was
done
being
it
pretty
before.
optimistic. I was like, I think if I could get like 3,000 to 5,000, that would be amazing.
You were shooting
and I think
high
that
to
one now
start.
has
That's
like
good.
over 400,000.
Wow.
And then I posted another on my way to, I'm part of the Knowles Teaching Fellowship, and they have a summer teaching conference every year. And I was in the airport on the way there, and I recorded another one, and I think that crossed 1 million views. It's been totally wild. And it's like, I don't have what it takes to be a star. I just happen to have found like product market fit, where these videos are not particularly entertaining. Like it's just me showing a thing and teachers recognizing like, oh, I need that. That's going to help me.
Right.
And so I think the product and the fact that it's solving a real need for people does all the heavy lifting. And so, I don't have to be a real great entertainer to just show the product and say, look, I made this for you.
It's working, right?
It totally is.
It's
More than
working.
I ever thought it could.
That's awesome. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with Josh Pullen and some of the different ways in which you can shuffle buddy your classroom. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Classroom Dynamics is supported by Higher Ground Gear, featuring the Shuttle 3.0 CS laptop case. Built for students on the move, the Shuttle 3.0 offers 24/7 protection by letting you work directly out of the case. Just open it and go. Its sleek molded design keeps laptops cool, secure, and always ready. And with shock-absorbing corners for drop defense, a grip deck, corner straps to hold your device in place, and clean shell fabric that resists spills and wipes down easily to fight germs, it's protection that never quits. For more, visit hggear.com today. Attention educators, meet the Logitech Zone Learn, the classroom headset designed for learners and built for schools. Engineered for comfort and durability, the Zone Learn delivers crystal clear audio, helping students focus and fully engage during lessons, group projects, and online learning. Built to last, its modular design adapts to any classroom setting and ensures a reliable, distraction-free learning experience. With Zone Learn, your students can hear the difference, which helps boost learning. For more information, visit logitech.com/Zone Learn. Welcome back to Classroom Dynamics. I'm talking today with Josh Pullen of Shuffle Buddy, and we have to get more into this because now I'm sure teachers want to know how they can use it. So what are some of the different ways teachers could actually use Shuffle Buddy? You know, I'm sure they want to know about kids who may not necessarily work well with someone else. You kind of touched upon that earlier. Kids with IEPs and 504s or special needs, or even just different ways to mix it up for group work or special projects. So how do they get started, and what can be done with Shuffle Buddy for those particular classes?
Yeah, so one of the things I worked really hard on was making it as easy as possible to get started. It's a lot of people are going to be listening to this in their first couple weeks of teaching for the school year. You're swamped, you're busy, you're overwhelmed, right? All of us are. And so I try to make it really easy to start. In the app, you can go to shufflebuddy.com, open it up, and the first thing you're going to do is just enter your roster. If you have a spreadsheet of student names, you can just copy and paste it in or upload the spreadsheet. If you have a plain text list, like a Word doc that's just a list of names, you can copy and paste that in. Like, I tried to make it real easy. You just put your names in. You can design your classroom layout so you're not stuck on like a grid layout or something. You can totally, it's almost like a Google drawing. Like if you've ever been in a Google Doc and like added a drawing, you can basically just move these rectangles around and design your layout however you want. And then once you have the roster and the layout, the real sort of magic of it is these rules. So if you don't need any rules, you can just hit shuffle and it's just going to randomly place your students in seats, and you can hit shuffle as many times as you want. But if you want some rules, there are currently 3 options for different kinds of rules you can add. The first one is a keep apart rule. So if you have, 2 students who, again, my example from before was these 2 kids were dating and they broke up. Maybe you don't have this problem in elementary, but
Not yet.
Certainly in high school, we have this issue sometimes, right? Of like these 2 kids, it's just, we all sort of mutually agree it's going to be better if we're in different groups. You can just set a keep apart rule that says, hey, this kid and this kid, keep them apart from each other. And every time you hit shuffle, it'll do a random seating chart where they are not right next to each other.
And let's be real, right? Let's be real. Every classroom is going to have that situation. It's just the way it is. You can't get around it. Every classroom, it's going to have it. So that's a great first rule for teachers to kind of bite into and hold on to, because they're going to use that one for sure.
Yep. And I've tried to design it in a smart way where, like, if you set a keep apart rule and you've got, like, say a lot of my tables, my desks are in groups of 4, for example. Obviously, it's not going to place those 2 kids at the same group, but you also don't want them to be like directly across the aisle from each other, where like technically they're at different groups, but they're in like
back-to-back seats.
Right. It's like, that's not going to work very well. And so I've had some people ask questions about that. It should pretty much just do the right thing. Like it should put them at a distance apart where if they're going to be talking with each other, it's like over and through 3 other people, right? Like it shouldn't be, it's not going to place them next to each other if you set that keep apart rule. You can also do keep apart for big groups. If you have like 4 kids and you're like, don't put any of them next to each other, you can do that too. The next kind of rule is a keep together rule. Keep together is interesting because there's a couple different variations of it. But the basic idea is exactly what you would think, which is these 2 kids, I want them to sit with each other. So if you have just 2, you can just set a keep together rule. say, keep these two kids together, and it's going to keep them together. It's a little more tight about it. So it, like in that example where I've got a group of 4 and then another group of 4, they're going to actually be at the same group as each other. They're not going to be across the aisle. So a keep together is more strict about like, they're going to be sitting right next to each other. If you have a big group that you want to keep together, there's sort of 2 options here. One is you might have like a group of 4 kids and you want them to all sit right next to each other. You can create a keep together rule that keeps everybody together. It's fairly rare, I think, that people would do that, but it's an option if you want it. The more interesting one to me is you can have a keep together rule that keeps a large group so that everybody has one buddy. So I've had some teachers say like, I want everybody, maybe I want like all my girls to be sitting with at least one other girl, for example, is a rule that I've had teachers ask for. You can do that where you say, I'm going to put my girls in and I'm going to say, keep them with a buddy. So they all get at least one. The entire group is not together, but everyone in the group is with someone else from that same group. And so that's a pretty flexible one if you are like wanting to keep everyone feeling comfortable while still mixing the classroom up. So you can say like, all right, everyone's with someone they're happy to be with, but then I'm also going to shuffle you a little bit.
Right. And I guess the teacher can put this up on a digital display in front of the room, like a Promethean panel or something, and they come in and they see where they're going to be sitting that day or for that project or for whatever case that you've created.
Exactly. And you can, when you're projecting it, you can just show the app, or I also give you the option to copy the seating chart as an image that you could like paste somewhere. For example, if you had like a daily slide or something, or you can download the image.
Oh, that's good.
The last kind of rule is what's called a tag rule. And I use this for when you want to keep students in certain areas of the classroom. So you can tag certain desks. So a lot of times I'll take my entire front row that's closest to the front board and tag it as like front of room or something. And then I can assign students to that tag. And what that means is if John is given a tag rule to say, keep John in one of those desks, he's always going to be at the front of the room. Or I know like a common accommodation is to keep students near the teacher. And so you could select a couple desks and tag them as these are the desks near the teacher. And then I need to keep these 2 students near me. So those tag rules are sort of about positioning in the classroom.
Honestly, it's a really cool feature because this is something, I said it before, I'll say it again. Teachers are going to use something like this. They don't have the time in the day to mess with it and, hey, put paper and change it up. Sometimes you hear teachers say, oh, yes, I change my desks every month or 2 months or every semester or whatever it is after every major vacation just to mix it up. And I don't think they realize that mixing it up the right way in a system like Shuffle Buddy can also help with differentiation and group work and all these things that teachers, the time gets sucked out of your life during the course of the day that you can't really afford to give up. So I think it's just an amazing thing that you've created. Being that said, obviously it's relatively new, so there's going to be changes along the way, and feedback from teachers is really important. So with all the feedback that you've been getting, all that feedback rolling in constantly, this is what I used it for this, but I would really love if it did that. Can you share what might be next? Any kind of new things that you're working on, cool features or upgrades that you're most excited about?
Yeah, so I just added some things based on teacher feedback. A lot of people wanted ways to color code their desks or label their desks with like numbers or IDs or things like that. So I just added that as like a pro feature. I just added syncing between multiple devices. A lot of people were like, I have a home laptop and a work computer and I want to be able to make my seating charts at home and then access them at work. So I added that as well. There's a whole bunch of feedback that I've been getting. A huge population that I've been surprised by is music teachers have been reaching out and saying, hey, I have these big groups, I need help generating these charts, but music teachers need a lot of specific furniture options. So it's like, hey, I have risers or I have other things.
Right.
Can I do more than just the rectangle desks? So that's on the horizon for me as more types of furniture. Teachers also really want to label other objects in their classroom. So it's like, hey, I have my teacher desk, I have my whiteboard, I have my windows, my door to the classroom. I want to label all those things. Currently, there's not a way built in to do that, but that's something that I want to add for sure.
They want a whole floor plan now.
Right, exactly. There is a little workaround. This is a sort of a pro tip for people. If you want to get that kind of thing now, even though it's not a built-in feature, you can create, like, for example, a teacher desk but make it be like a student desk, but just put it in the room and then use a tag rule and put your teacher name in the roster and just assign it so that your name always goes to the teacher desk. It's not a very good solution, but it's kind of a hack that works for now until
There you
I
go.
have the time to add more of that stuff. Another thing, lots of teachers are using Flippity or other options like that to generate random groups, not just seating charts. So random groups, random pairs, jigsaws, pick a random person, like popsicle sticks, right? All that kind of stuff I do plan to add as well. So expand it. I called it Shuffle Buddy on purpose because it's all about seating charts right now, but I want to add groups, pairs, all those other sort of random selecting a student or shuffling students around. And the idea is that you could have like Flippity, but again, with your rules. So generate your random groups, but keep those rules. Again, there's kind of a workaround for groups. If you just put a bunch of desks together, that can be your group. And it's like, I'm making a seating chart, but really I'm just using it to make groups. But I want to build a better version of that as well.
So cool. It really is cool. I know I keep saying it, but it is a cool thing. I'm sorry I didn't think about it sooner, but yeah, good for you.
I'm shocked no one built it before. I got lots of comments from people who are like, I've been begging for this for years and it didn't exist. And I just think it's one of those things where you need the combo of someone who knows how to make it and someone who sees the need. But yeah, I've been surprised it didn't already exist, and I'm glad it's here now because a lot of people have been happy about it.
And teachers just have to go to the website to get started, basically.
Yep, shufflebuddy.com. It's free for unlimited use for all the basic stuff. I did add some pro features with a little monthly subscription just because I'm on a teacher salary too, and it helps to have a little side income. But one of my principles with that is everybody, even if you can't afford to pay, everyone should be able to get sort of that essential shuffle functionality for free. So you don't need to pay for any of that.
Josh, listen, awesome idea. I'm thankful. I'm going to speak for, teachers that listen to our show. I'm thankful for them. They're thankful for you. Thank you again for sharing your story and reminding us that teachers are often the best innovators because we experience it, right? And we can't wait to see what's next for Shuffle Buddy. I'm really excited for you, really happy for you, and I think it's a great thing. Before we go, just tell everyone where they can go to find out more about you, of course, and how they can get started with Shuffle Buddy.
Yeah, you just want to go to shufflebuddy.com. You can Google for Shuffle Buddy. You'll find it. That's really all there is to it. Shufflebuddy.com. I did just recently also add the ability to do school plans. So if you want to have your principal or district pay for Shuffle Buddy for all your teachers, you could get the pro version that way as well.
And what about social media for you guys?
Oh, you can find me on TikTok, or I'll find you. I'm trying to hit every teacher. I had 1 million teachers, and there's 3.5 million in the United States. So I think basically everyone. I'm trying to hit everybody who's on TikTok, but I'll find you.
Great. Listen, best of luck with the app, and thank you for joining us today. It was a great conversation, great idea.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Coming up next, our Google Notebook AI host Bits and Bytes are here with how ClassDojo can help ensure a smooth start to your school year, and of course, in a variety of ways. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Are you juggling lesson planning, grading, and keeping students engaged all while running out of hours in the day? If so, Brisk is here to help. Brisk is an AI-powered education platform that supports teachers, students, and schools at every stage, from planning and instruction to feedback and practice. The best part? Brisk works wherever you are. The Brisk extension brings support into the tools that you already use, and the new Brisk Next web experience gives you a hub for planning, bundling resources, and sharing assignments with ease. With Brisk Boost, safe AI for students, you can create interactive charts like debates, exit tickets, and character conversations that deepen learning. Ready to try Brisk? Go to briskteaching.com, click the Get Started button, and install the extension. Plus, enjoy 3 months of premium features free at brisk-teaching.com/Adam-Todd today.
Looking to spark excitement in your classroom and save time? Head over to Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers. From engaging lesson plans to creative lap books and test prep tools, these resources are designed to inspire learning and take the planning stress off your plate. Highly Motivated, motivating teaching resources that engage and inspire. For more, search Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers today.
Today, we're getting into something really interesting that's kind of changing the game in K-12 education. It's called ClassDojo.
Right.
Imagine taking a classroom, just a physical room, and turning it into this connected hub.
A community, really.
Exactly. Linking up teachers, students, parents, families.
Yes.
So our mission, what we want to do here, is really unpack how ClassDojo manages this, how it goes beyond just being a tool for messages and actually helps build a different kind of school culture and understand why so many people use it.
And the scale is, well, it's kind of staggering when you look at it.
Yeah.
We're talking, what, over 45 million students and parents connected.
Wow.
And it's in like 95% of schools in the U.S. It's huge. And for this, we're looking at info straight from ClassDojo itself, their own descriptions, but also an article that actually followed its use in classrooms for a whole year.
Right, seeing the real-world effects.
Exactly. So
Right.
a good mix.
So for you listening, this is really your shortcut to understanding how one platform can aim to make education more connected, maybe even more effective. You'll get the strategy behind it and maybe uncover some benefits you wouldn't expect, like the automatic translation thing
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
into over 35 languages. That's not just handy, it's massive for bringing diverse communities together, isn't it?
Absolutely. A real bridge builder.
Okay, so let's unpack that. How does ClassDojo actually pull this off? Beyond the simple stuff, what's the core mechanism that weaves everyone together like this?
Well, it really starts with making communication seamless and
Yeah.
using different modes, not just text.
Okay.
Think about their secure messaging or the stories feature. It's not just firing off a quick note.
Right.
It's designed to break down those, traditional walls between school and home. Teachers can instantly share photos, even short videos, updates about what's happening right now in class.
Oh, onto a private feed?
Exactly. A private feed just for that class. So parents can almost like peek into the classroom virtually.
Get a feel for the day.
Yeah, see the actual activities, the classroom magic, as a one teacher we read about called it. It makes it concrete, not just abstract report card comments.
That makes sense. That level of transparency must build a lot of trust, way more than, say, a weekly newsletter.
Definitely. It keeps families plugged in, engaged in a way that, newsletters or the odd phone call just can't match.
And this quick info flow is not just for daily stuff, right? You mentioned it helps with broader school-home things.
Yeah, it handles event management too. It makes it super easy for parents to click and add a school event right to their own calendar.
Well, with reminders, that's useful.
Yep. Automated reminders. But maybe more importantly, it lays the groundwork for tackling student development more holistically.
You mean like social-emotional learning, SEL?
Exactly. Those really crucial skills, empathy, managing yourself, making good choices.
Okay, how does an app help with that?
It's actually pretty clever. They use features like points and something called big ideas.
Oh.
So teachers and families can actively work together on SEL.
Points, like for good behavior.
Sort of, but it's framed more positively. It's not just don't do this. It's visual feedback for showing skills like persistence or teamwork or helping someone out.
Reinforcing the positive social skills.
Right. And big ideas, that's content. Short animated videos, discussion starters on things like mindfulness or gratitude.
Oh, interesting. So the conversation starts in class.
And can easily continue at home. It creates the shared vocabulary around emotional intelligence. And then there are the portfolios. That gives the students themselves a huge voice.
Right, the student voice part. That does sound really interesting. They can upload their own work, assignments, projects.
Yeah, directly into their own personal digital portfolio. Reflections, creative stuff, assignments.
What's the deeper effect of that? Is it just showing off work?
No, it's more strategic. It's about building student agency, ownership, and digital literacy, too, which is vital now. It empowers them to manage their own learning story, reflect on how they're doing, and then share those wins directly with their family.
So parents aren't just waiting for the report card.
Exactly. They become active cheerleaders, seeing progress almost in real time. It builds a much deeper connection to the child's actual growth, academically and personally.
And what about the teachers? Our sources mentioned a teacher toolkit. How does that fit into this connection and growth idea?
The toolkit. That's all about saving teachers time, their most precious resource, really.
How so?
It pulls together a bunch of those admin tasks, attendance, making student groups randomly, timers for activities.
The little things that add up.
Precisely. By automating or just simplifying them, it genuinely gives teachers back hours every week, hours they used to spend on paperwork,
Which they can then spend on
actual teaching. Personalized interaction, planning better lessons, building those relationships that really matter. It fundamentally shifts how they use their time and energy.
There was that Harvard research mentioned, right, about how consistent homeschool communication boosts student performance.
Yeah, and parent engagement, too. It really underlines the importance of this connection.
And ClassDojo seems designed to make that connection almost effortless.
Pretty much, yeah.
So let's get specific. How are teachers actually using this day to day? What are the main ways our sources highlighted?
Okay, number one, and probably the most known, is that positive reinforcement system we touched on, the behavior tracking.
Using the points.
Right, awarding points for specific positive actions, teamwork, trying hard, participating, not just being quiet,
Right, focusing on the positive skills, not just compliance.
Exactly. It's less about discipline, more about motivation. It draws on positive psychology to get students intrinsically engaged, celebrating their efforts and growth.
And there was data on that, wasn't there? Something about on-task behavior increasing.
Yeah. Studies looking at these kinds of positive behavior strategies suggest they can boost on-task behavior by up to 60%. 60%. That's huge. A massive difference in the classroom vibe just from focusing on reinforcing the good stuff.
It really is. Okay, second big use. The parent communication hub. It's indispensable for that.
Like the teacher, Mrs. K, using the auto-translate.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Being able to connect seamlessly with her Spanish-speaking families. Or KDE, who used it to share updates and portfolio access with grandparents living in other states.
Wow, yeah, that goes way beyond just school announcement.
It builds real transparency, real trust. And research backs this up too. When parents get regular positive updates, students tend to have better attendance, higher motivation. It all connects.
Makes sense. And the third big use, the student portfolios.
Yep, empowering that student voice, which, again, isn't just a digital bulletin board.
Right.
It actively involves students into documenting their own learning. They curate it.
Builds digital skills, encourages them to think about their progress.
And shifts them from just receiving info to actively participating in telling their own educational story. It's quite powerful. And for teachers wanting to start, is it complicated?
Actually, no. The barrier to entry seems really low. Creating a free account, setting up classes, inviting parents using unique codes. It's designed to be intuitive.
But it's not magic, right?
No, the key thing our sources stressed is consistency. Daily use. It's not something you set up and forget.
It needs ongoing engagement.
Right. It's that sustained effort that cultivates what they call that thriving classroom culture. Mrs. W, another teacher in the article, even mentioned how it creates chances for scholars and helps teachers feel appreciated too.
Interesting.
So if we kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, this deep dive shows that a platform like ClassDojo isn't just about sending messages faster.
Right.
It's really trying to reshape the whole relationship between the teacher, the student, and the family. It aims to foster that thriving classroom culture by, building stronger partnerships, celebrating the positives, giving students a voice. It's more like an ecosystem than just an app.
So thinking about this, what does it all mean for you listening? If one tool that's free and pretty easy to use can smooth out homeschool communication, support that vital social-emotional stuff, and maybe even, as the study suggests, boost focus by up to 60%.
Yeah.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How else could we use accessible platforms like this thoughtfully? To bridge gaps, create supportive, really engaged environments, not just in schools, but in other communities too, far beyond the classroom.
That does raise a really important question. In this world that's getting more and more connected, how might these lessons we're learning about building community, about giving individuals a voice within that classroom setting through tools like this, how might that inform how we approach collaboration, accountability, and just growth in general in other parts of our lives, in our work?
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Classroom Dynamics. I hope today's conversation sparked something meaningful for you, maybe a new idea, a fresh perspective, or just a little boost of motivation to take back to your classroom. Remember, it's never too late to strengthen your craft, and if there's ever a moment to re-energize your work, why not make it today? I'm Adam Todd, and you've been listening to Classroom Dynamics, a teacher podcast. Follow us on X at Class Dynamics and on Instagram at Classroom Dynamics Podcast. If you haven't already, go to your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'll be back soon with more captivating conversations, inspiring stories, and strategies that you can implement into your everyday routines. Until then, keep that spark alive and never underestimate the incredible impact you have as an educator. You're more powerful and inspirational than you think. Did you miss our episode, How a Plush Dog Named Turbobo is Transforming Mental Health in Schools? If so, meet Turbobo, the plush therapy dog created by Brown University student Ryan Mealy to reduce stress, ease anxiety, and build resilience. Catch up now and discover how one hug at a time is making a big impact.
If you can imagine a middle school student, 7th grader, my friend's getting pulled out, not really sure what to do, very scary situation. So that was also kind of the nudge I took to really launch this into a real support company. Is the whole idea is how do you create this physical tool that you can introduce as early as elementary school to give them that kind of personalized experience on how to manage that anxiety and really give them the tools and resources they need. So hopefully they don't end up like a couple of my friends did. So that's kind of a two-pronged approach to why Turbobo means a lot to me and why I even started it.